to the plate with a chance to cap off this incredible division series with a walk-off win. On an 0-1 pitch, Hernandez lifts one to left center field. It is pulled in by Meadows. Here comes Santana. The Red Sox onto the championship series.
Zach Haskell for the win. Blankenship missed it. No good. Start from the Colts. Josh Oliver trying to spin out of a tackle. Second net ball out. Murray from Jackson. Second and goal. Second in the game. There it is. Caught. Touchdown. Marquise Brown. And this game is over. It belongs to the Baltimore Ravens. A furious comeback.
This is interesting to see your daily sports podcast about news, narratives, takes, and gambling in the world of sports. I'm Nick. Big day in sports, big month in sports, big weekend in sports. I'm a little exhausted, to tell you the truth. Today, obviously, we're going to talk about Jon Gruden and mostly Jon Gruden, but let's get the fun stuff out of the way. The Baltimore Ravens, another come-from-behind victory. That means they have won on a prayer and dumb luck now against the Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions, and Indianapolis Colts. And for those of us out there that bet them on the under win total for the season and not to make the playoffs, you have to think, hey, kickers, could you get your shit together, please, and beat them for the love of God. But they win. Carson Wentz looked awesome last night, 400 yards passing. He only was, I think he fumbled once or twice, but in his defense, that Odafe Owe kid from Penn State is awesome. So he got his ass whipped. That was pretty cool. And yeah, the Baltimore Ravens beat the Baltimore Colts by a final. They beat them in overtime. Final score, I don't really remember. It was like, let me see, 25 plus 6 is 31-25. That sound right? That sounds right. In baseball last night, the San Francisco baseball Giants defeat the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Giants now lead 2-1. The Rays, who everyone said was just too good, they fall to the Dodgers, or if they fall to the Dodgers, they fall to the Red Sox, as we heard in our opening clip right there. Kike Hernandez with the walk-off sac fly. The Rays were never able to get out from under. They're just the vibe. They were winning big, or they were down by 4, and they took the lead in game 2, and then the Sox ended up beating them something like 12-6, and since then they were just never able to get out from under it, though they got close. Their young star, Randy Arozarena, is a freak. He is so cool, that kid that stole home. I love him. He's awesome. He is super awesome. So the Sox will play the winner of the White Sox and the... Hold on. Don't tell me. Oh, Houston. Oh, yeah. Damn it. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with Houston and Boston. I'm just not going to care. I'll just check back out on baseball. If it's honestly, oh my God, I'm now having a panic attack. If it's Braves and Giants or Braves and Dodgers versus Houston and Boston, yeah, I mean, baseball season will be over for me. I just won't care that much. I'll just report the scores. I want something new and interesting. I'm kind of rooting for the White Sox because they're kind of scumbags. They're a lot of fun. All right, let's, I guess, talking about football last night. So Lamar Jackson is good. Carson Wentz looks like whatever. We are going to need to check on this narrative of when do the Colts bench Carson Wentz to, like, protect their top 10 pick if they end up sucking. The Colts are now 4-1, or excuse me, 1-4. The Eagles right now, as the season were to end today, would have 3 top 10 picks. One they got from Miami because they thought that having Jalen Waddle would make them better, but they're trash now. Should have drafted Penei Sewell. Completely stupid. People compare Penei Sewell to Jamar Chase in Cincinnati and Detroit, but they forget that there was a receiver taken between them, and his stuff was not great. All right, let's talk about Jon Gruden. I reported it yesterday. So there's an important part of the story that we need to discuss, and that part of the story is that how this is all getting out. This came out because Jon was staying friendly with people that he knew. Bruce Allen, who was at the time the general manager of the Washington then Redskins, and Jon was just emailing people. He was just shooting the shit with his boys. And the New York Times, during Monday Night Football last night, published a report on more leaked communication between Jon Gruden and a bunch of people, including Bruce Allen. And the scope of the stuff that he said in those emails is preposterous. Misogynistic, sexist, homophobic, racist. And like inarguably, like slurs and stuff. Homophobic slurs. He called Roger Goodell a pussy. It's crazy. Like he literally hit everybody. Like every single kind of thing that can get you screwed and, hateful language in your heart and your brain. He did that. He did it all in 2011 and probably more. Now, there are two storylines to this. Number one is Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden, within minutes, and I mean minutes of this thing coming out, resigned. Like minutes. It's also important to point out that the first openly gay NFL player who is, on an active day roster, Carl Nassib, is on the Raiders, which makes sense. That's like the Raiders are the most inclusive franchise probably in the history of sports. That's kind of inarguable. They break barriers. They enable people to be themselves and just win, baby. Like that's like they deserve so much credit historically for getting black people in positions of power within the organization, for enabling black players to live their lives, for promoting women. Amy Trask has done more for women in sports than perhaps anybody ever. She's awesome. I love her. So for Jon Gruden to be on the Raiders organization, so this is the part of the story that we need to get to, because Jon Gruden is the only person that's getting hit right now. These emails were to Bruce Allen, who has been fired by the Washington football team, but you'll notice there are no emails concerning John Snyder, who's the owner of the team, or any other owners, although we know or suspect that those are out there. The first email was about DeMaurice Smith's body type, and it was a racial trope. Then there were more emails leaked. The first group of emails were leaked to the Wall Street Journal. Then the second group of emails were leaked to the Washington Post and to the New York Times. There are people that have those emails that are purposely trying to hit Jon Gruden. There are dozens and dozens of more emails out there. But you'll notice there are no names of people who signed who signed the checks, just people who cashed the checks. We know that those exist, though. All of this is coming to light because of the investigation of crap that Washington had been pulling for years, including, and the picture was included in the email to Jon Gruden, of cheerleaders who were coerced into posing topless for Washington football team executives, which is sexual assault, by the way, and just disgusting. Will there be ownership involved? I don't know. You don't get to that level of power by not being able to hide any of this. Now, I'm going to give you the conspiracy theory and the narrative that you're going to need to watch, because Washington football team management under Dan Snyder and other people have floated this out there, and it to me is not as crazy as it sounds. And I don't think there's any sort of hacking going on. I just think that someone far more powerful than Dan is pulling the strings, and that person is Jeff Bezos. There has been no argument that Jeff wants a team badly. So in order to get a team, you have to wait for someone to die and then them not to have their crap together and leave it to some sort of weird inheritance thing and not be able to afford to own the team due to an inheritance tax, which is sort of what's happening in Seattle. Seattle makes a ton of sense. That's where Amazon is. Denver is going to be sold because the kids can't decide who gets to own the team after Pat Bowlen has passed away. They're fighting about it. So Denver's ownership is going to be up for grabs. That wouldn't be easy peasy, but Jeff wants Washington. He wants the Washington Post. He wants to be in Washington. So the Washington football team management has at times suggested that they think that a lot of this is being leaked and people are being coerced into doing stuff so that Jeff can push out John Snyder and he can own the team, because the owners can get together and say, hey, we're going to kick you out of the league now as an owner. It happened to the Panthers recently. But what's more interesting is there's a line of thinking, and this is from Pro Football Talk, there's a line of thinking that the NFL doesn't want Jeff to own a team because they're making too much money with him right where he is. Jeff could, by the way, own every single team. His wealth is extraordinary. It hasn't been someone this wealthy since, like, I don't even know, medieval times, maybe some sort of Chinese dynasties. I have no idea. Like, his wealth is extraordinary. He can own the entire league. So if the NFL doesn't want him to be an owner, it's literally that simple. He has to be voted in. You have to be approved. And if they were just like, hey, we don't trust you, we don't like you, you're not an owner now, it's that simple. They can just say no. But there's no question that this is a narrative you're going to have to look out for. And we'll never know, obviously. It's just something that's going to happen. That being said, I highly doubt that Dan Snyder needs Jeff Bezos to pull strings for this kind of crap to come out. Jon Gruden is the first, but I will tell you that I highly doubt he'll be the last. And whoever's leaking these emails, and they're smart about it, because what the suggestion is that they thought that the first one would be enough for the Raiders to discipline him, and they hadn't disciplined him, and then they got hit again. And you'll notice, and this is a point about sports journalism I've pointed out often, I don't think that there is such a thing as sports journalism. I don't. I think that there's journalism and there's sports content. And you'll notice these emails were not leaked to ESPN or Sports Illustrated. They were leaked to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. And those are not sports journalists. They are journalists who cover sports. These are the big boys. And then a bunch of people on the internet and on TV, they condemned Gruden, but then there were a bunch of people saying he's probably grown from this. He's not the same guy anymore. And then, bam, more emails. And the New York Times aren't any fools. They probably had these emails for days. They published this story in the first quarter of Monday Night Football. ESPN broke into Monday Night Football to talk about this. Gruden resigned immediately. But I suspect this is the beginning of some interesting stuff that's going to come out, particularly as the city of St. Louis continues their lawsuit against Stan Kroenke and the Rams organization. Because that trial appears like it's moving fast. And if owners are subpoenaed, that'll be a mess. We do know for a fact, though, because this is what happened with Colin Kaepernick. Oh, yeah, Colin Kaepernick. Jon Gruden said some things about Colin Kaepernick. Or was it Colin Kaepernick or Eric Reed? It was someone on San Francisco who was protesting the anthem. Used some racist languages there as well. But during the Colin Kaepernick stuff, it was discovered that Jerry Jones, when he says things that he knows will be inappropriate, he does it on a phone or in person, which is obviously brilliant. It's not the first time he's had to skirt around the line, I would imagine, en route to becoming a billionaire. However, I doubt that everyone is that smart. Oh, this expose of ownership is going to continue. So that's what's going on today. Gruden is no longer the coach of the Raiders, or probably no longer anything involved with football at any level, I would imagine, ever again. He has been canceled. He was so bad, he canceled himself within minutes. It's crazy what's happening. All right, let's move on to some other stuff. We'll wrap up on a weirder note. So the Sixers and Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is now reported to be showing up at Philadelphia because Ben Simmons, he doesn't want to play for Philly anymore, but Philly's like, okay, you suck. We would love to trade you. We also hate you. However, you suck so bad, we can't. If you don't show up, we won't pay you any money ever, and you'll be under contract, so you'll never play in the league as long as your contract is, which I believe is 6 more years. So stop being a crybaby and get your ass to camp. And if you play hard and play well and shut up, you can get traded. Ben Simmons said it's not his problem to increase his trade value earlier in the summer. Well, yes, it is. They're paying you so much money for you to be so bad, and everyone's looking at you like, I don't want that guy. That guy? No. So now Ben Simmons, they're working to a solution. The solution is get your ass to camp if you like money. In this era of NBA players force their way out all the time. The players in the NBA have far more power than they do in any other sports. They force their way out all the time. But those are the good players. Ben thinks he's on that level, and he could be if he just tried harder. For him, it literally is. It's just about trying. It's going to be funny to watch the Sixers fans. It's going to be tough for him. It's almost like you can't play him at home games, which what a mess that's become. Is it funny? Absolutely. It is absolutely hysterical. We're going to get out of here on this. Texas football on Twitter was live tweeting the game of the Red River rivalry. Their last tweet was touchdown Texas, tied ball game, because they were winning by a lot and then they were losing and then they tied the game. That was their last tweet. They never tweeted anything else, and then they didn't tweet anything on Sunday, and they didn't tweet anything on Monday until around 8 p.m. when they were goaded into it by Barstool Big Cat. And when they tweeted just a highlight of Texas doing the hook 'em horns. Oh, man. Little salty. I'll take things that are not back for 500, Alex. That's a joke, 500. This is interesting to see. Like, rate, review, subscribe, follow, etc., etc. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I think we'll do a deeper dive into baseball tomorrow. I've been kind of prioritizing football because I'm a red-blooded American. We'll get into baseball tomorrow. Be back and better than ever tomorrow morning.